Can Tucker Carlson save Canada? The only media that seems to be interested in what is happening in the once free nation of Canada is to be found south of the border. Last night, I watched yet another interview of Ezra Levant of Rebel News by Tucker Carlson regarding the latest obvious violation of our charter rights with the arrest of Pastor Derek Reimer from Calgary for daring to protest drag queen story hour at the library to small children. Pastor Reimer is not the first pastor to be arrested and jailed in Calgary since the start of COVID. Arthur Pawlowski wears that badge of honor. Arthur was arrested in 2020 for feeding the homeless on the cold streets of Calgary by some very aggressive police who have since taken him into custody so many times that it's impossible to keep count, for daring to keep the faith during the never-ending COVID lockdowns. All this while the Walmarts, LCBOs, and Costco's of that once free city were allowed to remain open. What's obvious by now is that Canada has become a dark, desperate place, run by incompetent but very diverse, power-hungry politicians whose Gestapo-like dictates are only too readily obeyed by those who've been accorded the authority to disappear contrarians whom the dear leaders deem to be undesirables. What our very tyrannical leaders will not tolerate are opinions that challenge their narrative, a narrative that is not in accordance with any law, mind you. And not only must they be silenced, these contrarians, but their bank accounts frozen, their organizers imprisoned, and their liberties crushed. The worst part is the number of law enforcement officers who seem just fine with the new powers that this affords them. Where is the public outrage over this egregious abuse of our charter rights? Where is the mainstream media coverage? Have Canadians become the good Germans of the 21st century who stood idly by while their neighbors and friends were carted off like animals to the concentration camps of Hitler's Germany for the crime of being Jewish? Is it not obvious that the slippery slope can so easily devolve into an accepted form of punishment that it is no longer news, but just another daily occurrence in the gulag formerly known as Canada? When it takes a news personality like Tucker Carlson to lament the sorry state of affairs in Canada, it speaks volumes about the nation's complicity in our very own undoing. I hope that Ezra's plea to the United States Congress during this impactful interview will not go unheeded. But how very sad that we have arrived at a point where our only hope comes from Americans and their media. Please don't forget about us, Tucker. Your influence is about all we have left.